Alright, so back again, and in this video I'm going to do base coating. Now, base coating basically provides a surface color layer for the paint that goes on top of it. In this case I'll be using white. Now, for light colors, you're going to want to go like I am here with white basically. This provides plenty of luminance to come through on the upper paint layers. For neutral colors, you're going to want to go with a more of a gray color. For that, if you're using the Mr. Surfacer primer, then that gray is more or less a good gray to go with. It's pretty neutral and will basically fill any needs. For dark colors, you're going to go with a dark gray, not black, as black is just too strong a color that'll actually take a lot away from whatever color goes on top of it. But you do want to use black with metallics, specifically with high shine metallics such as chrome or silver and so forth. Now, when you're doing your base coat layer, it's more important than ever that you get the entire piece, as this is basically your foundation. In the priming step, it would be okay if a couple areas were not as well done, or you didn't get as full a coat on them. But with base coating, you need to make sure you get everywhere, and if necessary, you might even want to do 2 coats just to be safe. Now, in fact, I actually did 2 coats with these parts, as the first coat I had filmed, but unfortunately, how I had camera set up, you couldn't see anything as far as what I was doing, and even on review of this, you still have some problems seeing. But unfortunately, again, just one person trying to work the camera, it's a little hard, as I basically have to set it fixed and can't do much more than that. But yeah, for this layer, you definitely want to do much like you did when you were priming, and just start with a thin layer and just build it up slowly as you go. Again, one of the nice things about using lacquer paints is that they do dry fairly quickly, especially in direct sun. So basically, by the time, if you say you have a round part, by the time you get back around after rotating it and getting all sides, that first side will be more or less dry, and you can then start on another layer. But again, in this layer, you definitely also want to be very careful to avoid basically spraying too much paint all at once, as it will very quickly start to pool, and on this layer you definitely do not want that. Another thing you should also pay attention to is if there's any little bits of dust, errant hair, what have you, getting on the part. As at this phase that you want to make sure, even more so than when you were priming, that your part is clear. Ideally, you'd want to put them in some type of drying rack, something which I again don't have, but basically someplace where dust and other contaminants won't get on the parts. But again, as I said, another advantage of doing this is basically ensures that your parts are protected from any type of outside influence, so that they're fully free to just dry on their own and basically look good. Let's see what else. Again, you want to try and keep moving. Again, after you've done a good primary coat, it's a good idea then just to increase the distance between your airbrush and the part, and basically do a more or less mist coat, where you basically pull the lever on your airbrush all the way back if you're using a double action airbrush such as I'm using, and basically just put on a fairly heavy misting coat so as to ensure total coverage, and just again to try and make sure you've gotten a good coat down on the entirety of the part. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Yeah, as you can see, I'm doing that misting technique here. I do believe I just ran out of paint, but yeah. Or no, I'm still good. I still got a little. Yeah. Again, you want to make sure overall everything's clear. Check, make sure you got everything. And yeah. In the next part, I'm going to show how to do some masking. In fact, looks like this section is just about, yeah. Again, I need, just for sake of reiterating, make sure you get everything in your base coat step, as if you don't, you'll pay for it when your final finish doesn't look as good or it's harder to achieve. Alright, now that we've got our parts primed and our first base coat in, I'm going to actually be masking off the eyes on this head piece. Since I'm going to be doing the eyes with basically like normal eyes, the white base coat is a good starting point for that. So that I'm going to be using Tamiya's masking tape. Now for how I mask this type of area off, I try to basically get it all in basically under one piece of masking. And so I'm just going to start there, and using the blunt edge of a pair of tweezers, I'm just going to very slowly and deliberately just sort of rub it into and down, working on one section at a time, and then slowly but surely working my way around. Now doing this ensures you get a very even, and basically ensures you get all of the area you want masked off. Now that I've gotten this all basically down, I'm going to now take my X-Acto knife and just run it along the edges. You want to be fairly careful, as you just want to gently run it. You don't want to press too hard and potentially damage the paint underneath. You just want to work fairly slowly but deliberately. Alright, so now we have the eyes totally masked off. Again, this is important as basically to preserve the undercoat for that. So when I come back later after having painted this piece and done all that, I can then do the eyes. Again, ideally you want to try and keep it to just one piece of masking material, as any type of edge or separation will eventually potentially allow paint to get up under the mask. Yeah, sorry about the last video cutting out. That was my fault for not paying more attention. But yeah, I just wanted to mainly show what the mask will finish looking like once you get it done. I'll definitely come back to this again when I talk about resin figures in a later tutorial series. But yeah, next video I'll be doing I'll talk about mixing paint, and yeah, hopefully get to the first coat. Till then,